Hi, welcome to Roy's Game Table. Today we have an unboxing of the Scarlet Witch Hero Pack. Let's get into it. All right, well, let's open up and see what we have inside. And here is, first of all, we'll look at her poster. And there it is. Zoom out a little bit so you can see it. All right, the Scarlet Witch. Subject to genetic experimentation, as children, Wanda Maximoff and her twin brother Pietro developed incredible powers. Now one of the most powerful magic wielders, Wanda cast her spells to aid the downtrodden while seeking out the roots of sorcery wherever they may grow. And then it gives you some information here in this paragraph. And then we have some the new keyword team up, which we have seen before, but the team up keyword names two characters, and to include a card with the team up keyword in your deck, your chosen identity must match one of the named characters. Additionally, a card with the team up keyword cannot be played unless both of the named characters, hero or ally, are in play. So we have seen that before. And then there's a rules clarification for her, specifically Scarlet Witch's Chaos Control ability and her Scarlet Witch's Crest upgrade count boost icons. What does it mean to count boost icons? Boost icons are counted whenever a game step or card ability determines the exact number of boost icons on an encounter card. All right, so that's some of the information for her pack. And so here are the cards. I'm going to take them out of the pack and we'll look through them. Okay, well, here's Wanda Maximoff, 3 recovery, and she is a mystic, and that will matter for some of the basic cards like the Sorcerer Supreme and also a card that we're going to see in this deck, but superpowered siblings. And it's the same alter ego ability that her brother has, Quicksilver. It's an action, discard 2 cards from your hand, draw 2 cards, draw 3 instead if Pietro Maximoff is in play. And you limit once per round. And then for Scarlet Witch, her hero ability is Chaos Control. When boost icons on an encounter card would be counted, discard the top card of the encounter deck and count the number of boost icons on that card instead. Limit once per phase, and she is a 2/1/2, 2 thwart, 1 attack, 2 defense. All right, there's Quicksilver, the ally that comes in her deck. We just kind of talked about that with the rules from her set and also the abilities she has on the alter ego side. And you can see there, 1 thwart, 2 attack, 4 health, ready Quicksilver, limit once per phase. So pretty much what he does as the hero. But there's him. And then Chaos Magic. It's a hero action. Play a card from your hand, ignoring its resource cost. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck and equal to that card's printed resource cost. So pretty nice. Now you are discarding cards in the encounter deck to help the villain accelerate and get those acceleration tokens, but to be able to put a card in without having to pay for it, that seems pretty nice. And you get one of those. Hex Bolt. Hero action, discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. For each card discarded this way that has boost icons equal to 0, deal 2 damage to an enemy. 1, remove 2 threat from a scheme. 2, draw a card. And 3+, place a status card on a character. So you're going to be discarding 3 cards. And based on the boost icons, you'll be doing one of those 4 things, okay? And you get 1, 2, 3, 4 Hex Bolts. Molecular Decay. It's a hero action and attack. Deal 5 damage to an enemy and discard the top 2 cards of the encounter deck. For each boost icon discarded this way, deal 1 additional damage to that enemy. 1, 2, 3 copies of Molecular Decay. And then here's Warp Reality. A cost 1 event. When an encounter card is revealed from the encounter deck, cancel all of its effects and discard it. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck equal to the number of boost icons on that card. So this is a situational card. It's really something you have to have in your hand when it happens, but I always like to have these cards that can cancel an assault or a Shadow of the Past or an advance or something like that. And if you're canceling advance with it, you won't have to discard any cards because advance doesn't have any boost icons. But there's Warp Reality, only one of those. And here is another, it's a support card. It looks, I was going to say an ally, but it's a support card, a persona. Exhaust Agatha Harkness. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Add one of those to your hand and place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Magic Shield. When a friendly character would take any amount of damage, discard Magic Shield to prevent 3 of that damage. Okay, so damage prevention. And 3 of those. Scarlet Witch's Crest. When boost icons on an encounter card are counted, exhaust Scarlet Witch's Crest. Increase or decrease the number of boost icons on that card by 1 for this count. So that can go well with the Hex Bolt that she had. And if you remember from Hex Bolt, there was one option, this bottom option that says 3+, place a status card on a character. Well, how do you get more than 3? Because mostly we've only seen 3 so far in the game. Well, Scarlet Witch's Crest is one way to do that. You can exhaust her Scarlet Witch's Crest, and it can add that boost icon and get it to 4. I mean, that maybe there will be 4 boost icons on cards in the future, but right now I think that's the only way to get above 3. But anyway, that's her 2 cost upgrade. And she does come with Justice. It was in the rules, I didn't mention it, but Scarlet Witch does come with Justice. And here's the first card in her deck, Speed. After Speed thwarts, ready him and limit once per round. So you can get 4 thwart out of him in 1 turn without having to do anything else. Then Wiccan. After Wiccan thwarts, discard the top card of the encounter deck. For each boost icon discarded this way, deal 1 damage to an enemy. Crisis Averted. Removes 6 threat from the main scheme, and if you paid for this card using a mental resource, this thwart ignores the crisis icon. So pretty expensive, but there are going to be maybe a lot of characters that can use this. Could be good in a deck. 6 threats a lot, and you can ignore the crisis icon with mental resource. We'll see how that goes. But there are 3 of those. Multitasking. Remove 2 threat from a scheme. If you pay for this card using a mental resource, remove 2 threat from a different scheme. So a couple of cards that want you to use mental resource to get more effects. 3 of those. Swift Retribution. The villain schemes deal 4 damage to the villain. So a good way to deal damage to the villain if he's confused. You don't have to worry about any threat going on in the main scheme, and then you get to deal 4 damage, but to the villain, and that's something to keep in mind. You can't use this on a minion. It's easy to remember, easy to forget things like that, but that can only be used on the villain. 3 of those. Turn the Tide, a 0 cost event. After your hero thwarts and removes all threat from a scheme, deal 3 damage to an enemy. So a great way to do double duty here, to be able to get thwart off and also deal damage, and it's only at 0 cost. So 3 of those. Power of Justice, boring Power of Justice that we've seen many times. Boring Heroic Intuition that we've seen. Order and Chaos, this is her team up card with Quicksilver. When a treachery card is revealed from the encounter deck, cancel its when revealed effects, then deal 2 damage to the villain. So if you have, with Quicksilver in her deck, she actually has 2 cards that can cancel when revealed effects. We've looked at one already, and then this one, if you put it in there. Spiritual Meditation. Play only if your identity has the Mystic trait. Draw 2 cards, choose and discard 1 card from your hand. And so far, the only 2 characters that can use this are Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange, because they're both Mystics. And 3 of those, Boring Energy, Boring Genius, and Boring Strength. And then here's her obligation. Exhaust 1 and Maximoff, remove Slipping Sanity from the game, or discard the top 5 cards of the encounter deck. For each star icon in the boost area discarded this way, place 1 threat on the main scheme. Discard this obligation. Man, that could be brutal, because there are actually 2 copies of her obligation, and that's not a mistake. From what I understand, there's supposed to be 2 copies. Notice it has 3 boost icons, and that's something that's good. That can be good for her to help, like, put a status effect on someone with her Hex Bolt. But there are 2 copies of her obligation. The next evolution. Increase the number of boost icons on each encounter card by 1. That's the side scheme. And then Luminous. 2 scheme, 2 attack, 5 health. Forced response. After Luminous activates against you, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If 2 or more boost icons were discarded this way, deal yourself 1 encounter card. And that's her Nemesis minion. Magical suspension. Attached to your identity, each card you play costs one additional resource. And then exhaust your hero, discard this card. So you just have to exhaust the hero to get rid of it. But you know, it's not always something you want to do. You usually want to use your hero for the stats. Let's see, one of those, and then Chaos Manipulation. When revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile from Luminous and put her into play engaged with you. Discard the top card of the encounter deck. If 2 or more boost icons were discarded this way, Luminous activates against you. So she can come back into play with this because you're searching the deck and discard pile to put her engaged with you. And also could go in with a teammate if you're playing 2 players. All right, stop. This is the stop card, so that means everything before this is in her starter deck, her 40-card starter deck, and everything out after this is just additional cards. So let's see what we have. The aggression card, the special aggression card, is Browbeat. Play only if your identity has the Avenger trait. Deal 2 damage to the villain. Deal X additional damage to the villain to a maximum of 3, where X is equal to the villain's stage number. So you could, an expert, pay 2 to get 5 damage. So that could be good, I guess. 3 of those. The leadership card, Last Stand, a 0 event. When an ally you control attacks, it gets +3 attack for that attack. And after that attack resolves, discard that ally. Could be good with Goliath, who sometimes you're going to be using him. You're going to be discarding him anyway with his ability to get extra damage. Play this and get 3 more damage with him. It could be used with a bunch of allies, though. 3 of those. Bait and Switch. It's a thwart. The villain attacks you. Remove 4 threat from the main scheme. And this is nice. Threat seems to be something that Protection struggles with, at least in solo. In my opinion, it does. And now you have a card for 1 cost, a thwart event that the villain will attack you, but if they're stunned, that's not a big deal. The villain attacks, but to be able to remove 4 threat from the scheme for 1, and it's in Protection, that seems pretty good. 3 of those. Then Recuperation, alter ego action, heal damage from your alter ego equal to your recovery. And 3 of those. And that'll do it for Scarlet Witch. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell because I will be doing some playthroughs of her deck at some point in the future, and also playthroughs for other games that I have. So be sure to hit the notification bell and like and subscribe so you'll know when all those are coming out. And until the next game, I'll save you a seat at the table. Bye.